Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. In today's video we're going to be talking about Miss Banks, the one and only Tyra, supermodel, TV host, and creator of America's Next Top Model. So as you guys probably know by now, I won cycle 23 of America's Next Top Model. Did you even know that it went on that many seasons? I remember being like 10 years old back in the day, and I literally would skip school on Wednesdays not every Wednesday, of course. That would be bad. But some Wednesdays to watch the CW marathon of America's Next Top Model. I had been a fan for years and years and years, and it was kind of like just a lifelong goal to eventually be on the show. And I did get on the show, and I ended up winning. So if you didn't already know, my season was hosted by Rita Ora, and that was a little bit weird at first because, of course, watching all of those years growing up, like, I saw the show be hosted by Tyra, and in my opinion, America's Next Top Model just is Tyra Banks. So I was very shocked when that happened, and I talk more about that in this other video that I'll link here. If you haven't seen that, go watch it. It's a good one, and I answer all of your most burning America's Next Top Model questions. So if you're curious about anything, that's the video to watch. But anyway, so yes, I was initially very shocked, but I ended up loving Rita. Like, I am such a big Rita stan. Is that the right way to use that word? I literally looked up on the internet what stan meant the other day, so I think I'm using it correctly. But yes, I love Rita. She's great. Such a nice, genuine human being. I think she is awesome. So eventually I grew to love her and was really happy to be on her season of America's Next Top Model. So although every episode was not hosted by Tyra Banks, we did get to meet her several times. First, she was on like the first episode of the show. She came out and said like, "Welcome to America's Next Top Model," and all the girls were like, "Oh my god," you know, doing the freak out that they kind of tell you to do. And then we saw her again. Frick. I must be getting old. My memory is really just going out the frickin' window. But we saw her in another episode. Can't remember which one. But then I also got to meet her one-on-one after the finale. And that is what I'm going to be talking about today. My personal one-on-one experience with Tyra. There are so many rumors about her and so many like negative things going around on the internet. And I get that, I understand, whatever. We're in like cancel culture right now. But I am talking about the Tyra that I got to meet and like the Tyra that I got to know during that time that I spent with her one-on-one. So let's get into the video, and okay, I have nothing else to say. Here we go. Okay, so basically after we shot the finale, which, by the way, I'm gonna tell you a little story about that. The judges were deliberating on who would be America's Next Top Model for, I kid you not, probably 3 hours. So we started filming the finale at probably like 10 p.m. or something, and then by, you know, 1 a.m. they finally announced it, and then after that Tatiana was whisked away to the hotel to get some rest, and I was told I had to go sit in this van. I didn't know where we were going, I didn't know what we were doing, but I went and sat in that van for probably an hour, and, you know, no books, no music, no magazines, no other people around. So I was just sitting in that bus after my win, like looking out the window, just like, oh my gosh, did this really just happen? I was in absolute shock. Like, it did not feel real. So I was just kind of taking it all in, and I just sat there by myself for an hour. And then finally a producer comes in and they say, okay, we have somewhere to be, so we're gonna drive over there now. And we drove there. It was a short drive, and we got to this spot, and it was like in Manhattan. It was kind of a dock area. I forget what it's called, but it was on the lower west side. So it was kind of this pier that you walk out and, you know, there's water and it overlooks the city, and it was a really beautiful view. But before I even got to see that view, I'm sitting in the bus, and again, they're like, okay, we're just waiting on somebody. Don't know how long it's gonna be, but just hang tight. At this point, it is It was actually closer to 3 a.m. so I don't know where I went wrong in the timing, but we arrived at the location at about 3 a.m. So we're sitting. It gets to like 4:30 a.m. and we're still just sitting there. And I've been up all night. I've been through an emotional roller coaster, like getting ready for panel and then doing panel, you know, shooting the finale, finding out that I won America's Next Top Model. And then I'm just like freaking sitting in this van until the wee hours of the morning. So I was exhausted, but also kind of running on that adrenaline high. So we're sitting, and then finally they say, okay, you can get out. So they told me to get out of the van, and so I did. And they just said, okay, go ahead and walk over there. So I walked over there, and then I noticed this like figure in the distance, and what do you know, it was Tyra Banks. And I had like lived in LA before the show and, you know, been modeling for a long time, and I'm just, I guess, kind of a wholesome, simple gal, so I wasn't like starstruck at all. I was just like, oh, hi Tyra, great to finally meet you. I have loved watching your show. I don't know, I feel like she was probably expecting me to be like, oh my god, Tyra Banks, I can't believe it's you, thank you so much, and like burst into tears or something, but I didn't. I was just like, hey, how's it going? So probably didn't make for the best TV, hence why they didn't ever air it on TV, but whatever. So I'm chatting with Tyra for a little bit, and she was just like, congratulations. I'm so happy to announce you as the winner of America's Next Top Model. Welcome to the family. There's only, you know, 23 winners ever, so you are part of our little tight family. And I was just kind of asking her some questions, and one thing I remember talking about is how life would just go back to normal after this, because, you know, it's several months. I think it was like 6 months from when we finished filming to when the show actually aired. So she was just telling me how you have to go back to normal life. You can't tell anybody. You have to just go and work your job that you were working before the show. And she told me about one winner. I think it was Eva, but I can't remember, so don't quote me on that. But she was like, yeah, one of my other winners just went back to working on the farm after her win, and then, you know, once the show aired, she became like a celebrity. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So I kind of knew that I might blow up soon, but I still had to go back and like work these jobs. So I still had to like go back and work a regular job. And I think I ended up working at a radio station during that time, and also I was modeling just in Seattle. But I got a job doing like marketing at a radio station, and it was so weird because I just had to pretend like nothing happened. And then, you know, the show started airing, and I eventually quit that job because, well, I had a lot of commitments, but also it's kind of like a little bit awkward to be on like national television and then also working your radio job. So I eventually left that, but it was kind of crazy that even though I just won America's Next Top Model, it was just right back to regular life, getting a job and just living. So that was like one of the main things she was telling me about, is just like how life is gonna be and what to expect, and how I have to pretend like nothing happened. And okay, so first impressions of Tyra when I actually got to, you know, chat with her that first time one-on-one. Okay, now I'm not Tyra's freaking best friend. I don't know her personally. I would say, you know, I've met her a few times, but that one moment was the time where I really got to talk to her one-on-one and get to know her. So I'm speaking from that one experience. Again, don't know her, she's not my friend. I'm just speaking on this one experience, so here we go. My first impression was that she was very rehearsed, which I understand. She's been a part of America's Next Top Model for decades, and she is a host and probably has producers and a PR team kind of controlling what she says and things, but it was very like, she said this about 100 times before. Everything was like, I don't know, she has very like wide eyes, a little bit spacey, like alien-esque, first of all, in her looks. Like, she's just gorgeous, but also, yeah, just a little bit like not there, a little bit rehearsed. So even though it was very genuine and nice things that she was saying, it was also very like, India, congratulations on winning America's Next Top Model. You are part of our family now. You know, a little bit like robotic, if that's the right word. I don't know. But again, all very nice things to say. I could just tell that it's not her first rodeo. She's said all these things before, and she's practiced and had her PR team probably tell her exactly how to phrase it. So that's the impression I got. And again, just very like, obviously she's not ditzy, she's a freaking genius because she started this empire and is a supermodel and has brands, so she's obviously very intelligent. But when I spoke to her, it was very like she was not there. She was almost like the body that people were talking through. Do you know what I'm saying? So it was a little bit hard for me to like connect with her on a real sincere level, but I was just like, okay, yeah, for sure. She was nice. Everything was good. I don't know. Just a little bit not there. That's the only thing I really have to say. So then after we had that conversation and she was kind of telling me about how life would be and how it just have to go back to normal, then we had to like shoot something for the show. And basically they were like, okay, so Tyra, grab India's hand and you guys walk down the pier and then you look out into the distance. And I can't remember for the life of me what she said, but it was something like, the world is your oyster, or look out into your city, or like, this is all yours, or something like that. Very like Willy Wonka-esque, like, here is your chocolate factory, you can do with it what you want. But anyways, it was a nice little moment, and we probably had to film it like 3 times. If you didn't know that about reality TV, a lot of times they'll have you like walk into a room and they're like, can you guys do that again? Okay, do it one more time. Like, just to make sure that they got a solid shot and that we were excited enough and all that. So anyways, we filmed that like walking scene probably 3 times. And after we did that, we just walked back to where we were chit-chatting in the beginning, and I noticed that her shoelace was undone, and I was kind of like, is this something you tell like a star, a celebrity, like, hey babe, your shoe's undone? But I decided, yeah, I'll let her know. Wouldn't want her to fall, that would be bad. So I was just like, oh, thanks so much, Tyra, I really appreciate all the advice, it was great to meet you, and your shoe's undone, I just don't want you to fall. And she was like, okay, thanks. And she like, you know, sat down to tie it, and I was just like, thank you so much for that, so great to meet you. By this time it's about 5:30 and the sun is about to rise. I have no idea what Tyra has going on till 5:30 in the morning. I mean, I've been thinking about that for a long time. It's very bizarre. And even on the show when we had to meet her, it was very late in the night, like midnight or something, and she was 2 hours late for that again. So I'm like, what is this woman doing? I mean, it was really just kind of crazy. Like, she was so busy that she was doing something productive, I assume, from like the nighttime all the way until 5:30 was her first availability to shoot this scene for America's Next Top Model. It was so weird. And as you guys probably noticed, it never aired on TV. So I had this interaction with Tyra, we filmed this whole thing, and it was supposed to be like the wrap to the season, and they just never put it on TV. So I don't know if she didn't like how she looked, or the lighting was weird, or I don't know why it didn't air, but it was never put on TV, which is why you guys never saw that moment. So yeah, people are always asking me what was Tyra like, and I just don't even really have an answer. What I usually say is she was very just not there, very rehearsed, and I don't know about you guys, but I've kind of started to notice that, like when she hosts America's Got Talent and is on like news interviews and stuff, it just seems like she has been doing this a long time, and like she gets the idea, she knows what she has to say, and I don't know, it's just not very personable, not very relatable. It's just so like staged, I guess is the word. But yeah, she cracks me up when she was hosting America's Got Talent, because it seems like she's hosting America's Next Top Model. Like, she struts out like she is the host of a model show, and she speaks like that, and it's just almost like you're watching America's Next Top Model but on this different show all of a sudden. Again, I think on there it's the same deal. Like, she is reading her teleprompter or her script or whatever it is, and that is all she gives. I imagine that she comes there to do the job, she reads her script, she does her teleprompter, and then she goes home. She seems like a very busy woman who is down to business and not really interested in like showing any more of herself than she needs to. She was very kind. I have nothing negative to say about her at all, but I definitely feel like I didn't meet Tyra Banks. I met Tyra Banks, America's Next Top Model host, you know, like her stage self, not her true self. So I feel like she keeps her true self to herself and to her family and whatever, and we'll probably never know who Tyra Banks really is. It does break my heart a little bit that so much is kind of like resurfacing about America's Next Top Model and like things that she said in the past, because that was the past. Like, obviously I'm sure she and the other hosts wouldn't you know, treat contestants like that nowadays. That was a different time, and it saddens me that she has to like give all these apologies, but it's, you know, a different era, and she's having to kind of cover up some of the things that she's said in the past and figure out how to mend those things. And I feel bad that she's having to deal with that. You know, she's just always trying to be the best host she can be, and back then certain things were acceptable that are not today. So anyways, I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore, but I like Tyra Banks, thought she was great. Again, don't have anything negative to say. I also don't know her very well, so she could be horrible, she could be fantastic. I don't even really know, but again, just speaking on that one experience that I had with her. So I also get asked all the time if America's Next Top Model is going to continue going, and I truly do not think so. I think Cycle 24 was the last season. I think Tyra is for sure done, and I think the producers probably figured out that having Tyra not as the host also doesn't do as well, and I don't know, like, they took our frickin' season off of everything. You can't find it online. I have to go to like sketchy websites to figure out how to watch my season. But yeah, it's like removed everywhere. I don't think it got the best ratings, all this stuff. So I think the show is done. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think there's gonna be a comeback of America's Next Top Model, or are we just through? Tell me in the comments. So one last thought on all that. I do think that it would be hard nowadays to have a show about modeling and physical appearance solely these days. I know that in my season they were really trying to promote the boss business brand thing so that it's not just all about your looks, but in a day and age where the world is filled with body positivity and equality, or at least we're trying to go in that direction, I think it would be very hard to host a show and have a show air on TV that was just so much about your physical appearance. Even in the modeling world, it's becoming much more of an accepting place to be. Most of my shoots have a big variety of different skin tones, different body types, and I think that's awesome. We are moving into a more equal world, and with that said, again, I just think it would be hard to host a show like America's Next Top Model in today's world. So I think it's done. I think Tyra is probably like taking a little break from the hosting. So yeah, I think sadly America's Next Top Model is over, but it had a good run, and I'm kind of like happy to be one of the most recent winners. That's, you know, a special thing. I'll always be remembered as like one of the last winners of America's Next Top Model, so that's quite cool. Anyways, that's my thoughts on good old Tyra Banks. I still find it such an honor that I did get to meet her, because I was such a big fan growing up, and now I'm a little bit like desensitized to meeting celebrities and everything. But when I take a step back and really think about, like, okay, she was an icon in my mind, and I looked up to her and watched her show for so many years, so it was still very special to have met her and have just been on this show that I idolized for so long. All right, so that's all I have to say about that. Thank you for watching, and please do leave a comment, leave a like, share this with your friends. You do you. But thank you so much for watching this video and being a part of my little family here on YouTube. I so appreciate your support. All right, bye guys. See ya. Whoosh.